Hello and welcome to the Weirdo Records Record Roundup with Angela and Mark. We're here for the Boston Hassle in Cambridge, Massachusetts, talking about fantastic records that we found this week. Mark, I think you have a cassette to tell us about.
Yes, the cassette we are listening to currently is Vehement Caress, is Flawed Eternity. It's on the Apicult Recordings label, which is the label by Vehement Caress, which, if you don't know, is Lex Russo. He has been living in Boston for pretty much most of his life. Went to Mass Art, started doing harsh tonal shit as Hug Fucks, and then put a Hug Fucks album called Vehement Caress, and then took that moniker, and definitely explores a lot of dark textures, whether it's, blasting, composed feedback stuff, or like what we're listening to now, kind of a brooding, droning, synth exploration. And it's a really good tape. It's quite long. I think it's about clocks in at 60 minutes, 3 tracks each, kind of just into these pieces, but definitely kind of goes on this really nice, dark fuck journey.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Let's say I live here in Boston. Where would I go to see this in person?
Where would you go to see Lex?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
I have...
Does he play around?
He hasn't been playing around as much as...
He doesn't play around as much.
Yeah.
That's no good. Well, at least we've got a tape then. We're in the same situation as everyone else.
Yes, we have tons of tapes here, and I'm sure if you find, if you look Lex Russo on the internet, you can harass him enough to
convince
get back
him
in the world.
Maybe we'll have him play here in the shop.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, okay, that's a good idea.
Ready.
So, I want to talk to you about this Lamont Young bootleg that's been around for a couple of months, and I just got it into Weirdo this week. Lamont Young bootlegs are an excellent kind of way to highlight both what is great and what is terrible about bootlegs. Lamont Young is a New York minimalist who has been around since the late 50s. Composing, he started out composing stuff at Darmstadt, doing 12-tone compositions, and then he got really interested in minimalism and in Pandit Pran Nath, the Indian singer, and he's been making, he invented this thing called the Dream House, which is a piece that never ends, and he occasionally does little instantiations of it, and he has a little spot in New York where you can go and hang out at the Dream House, and when you go there, it's basically a place where this big drone is happening, and if you move your head around, or if you move to different spots in the room, it changes, and you can just go and sit in there for several hours and have a nice, like, fucked up head experience. And it's neat. He's a cool guy. Except he's kind of, he's a very interesting musician, and his skills as a musician far outweigh his skills as a social being. So, he's very well known for, a lot of his original albums are still in print because he prices them so high that no one can buy them. And, for instance, he's still selling one of his most famous records, the Black Album, which he made in 1968, I think. I'd have to look to make sure that the date is right, but around there. And when I first found out about Lamont Young, say in the early 90s, the Black Album was selling for, I think, $200, and my mind was blown at how much money that was. Now it sells for $605, and it just never goes out of print because he keeps raising the price to correspond with inflation. So, one of the only ways to hear Lamont Young's music at all, which is, he's a good musician, so it would be nice if people could hear it. One of the only ways to have ever heard his music is through bootlegs. And this current bootleg, however, shows some of the problems with it. It's a really nice recording. The sound is really good. The packaging it leaves a little bit to be desired. It's just a plain black cover and an insert which is clearly just typed on copy paper and then ripped in half by a person. It also says that the recording was made in 1960, which is probably not true. Lamont Young wasn't singing in 1960. In 1960, he was writing 12-tone pieces. And in about 66 through 68, that's when most people started discovering Indian music in general, when Ravi Shankar first put his record out, and Ali Akbar Khan put out a record, so on and so forth. Pandit Pran Nath, who Lamont Young was very fond of, put out his first record that you could get in the United States in 1968. It's called Earth Groove. And Lamont Young was so into this record that he started looking around at other Indian singing records, and he discovered a couple, including a guy who did the piece that is on here. He brought Pandit Pran Nath to the United States and became a disciple of his and started taking lessons from him. And in about 1972, they went around with a couple of other of Pandit Pran Nath's students and made recordings in New York for the Shandar label. That's probably what this is. Maybe I'm wrong, probably. Anyway, it's a really nice traditional Indian raga played in the Kanagarana style, which is very, very, very slow. And Lamont's version of it is even slower than anyone else's would be. So it sounds like the recording of kind of a student who is learning how the raga goes, and it's super slow. And it's two guys singing together. It's probably Pran Nath and Lamont Young. And the nice thing is that no one ever does that. You never hear like overdubbed version of Hindustani singing. So you can hear, they're singing in unison, and you can hear the beats between their voices, which is something that Lamont and other minimalist fans would like. And they do it super, super slow, which is great. You can really like sink in there. It's a really nice like bubble bath of a record, even if it came from awful circumstances all around. Isn't that nice? Alright, that's it for today.
Nice. So, this is the Weirdo Record Roundup. This is Mark and Angela for the Boston Hassle. Have a great day.